And now, a word from our local sponsor.
Gun possession is a hazardous war affecting children in their homes and schools. 8 children a day die from a gunshot wound in the U.S. 1 million violent gun crimes are committed by 18 to 20-year-olds, with homicide being the leading cause of death. How is it possible that 200 million guns are owned in the U.S. with only 80 million legal owners? Until we do something, guns will continue to flood the streets, along with the consequences. Did you know that a 3-year-old has the physical strength to shoot a gun? Juvenile gun possession is a problem. If a child obtains an improperly stored gun, the adult's owner is criminally liable.
Killer.
The restrictions are endless.
Frankie goes to Hollywood. Hey, yo, Frankie. Frankie.
Now that's Huggie Pacino certified.
What's going on, y'all? It's Huggie Pacino back with another video. Real quick, little girl kills her own father by accident. According to the story, it said that the man that was being picked up was in the back seat. Gun went off by way of the 3-year-old girl playing with the gun. So this 3-year-old girl killed her father by accident. Now, for those who are triggered by these types of stories, I want you all to be, you have been warned. This is very sad. This is very unfortunate. I personally just think that there's more to the story, but I digress on that. So without further ado, here we go.
Memphis police are seeing a sharp spike in shootings this week, responding to at least 9 in just 48 hours. One of the most recent involving a 3-year-old child. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kanji Anthony.
And I'm Joe Birch. WMC Action News 5's Briseda Hogan joins us live with a look at this crime and the danger of leaving weapons near little children.
Joe, Kanji, this is just a tragic story. Police say the little girl involved in last night's case is actually the one who pulled the trigger. The victim was her father. Wednesday, just before 9 p.m., Memphis police were called to a shooting in the 400 block of Harvest Hill Road. When officers arrived, 31-year-old Jerome Smith was found lying in a car with a fatal gunshot wound to the head. An affidavit reveals there were 4 people in the car, including a 3-year-old girl. Ayante Jones, who was also in the car, told investigators he was carrying a gun when Smith picked him up to take him home. According to the affidavit, Jones sat next to Smith's 3-year-old daughter, put the gun down, and that's when he says the child started playing with the weapon and fired it. Jones is now charged with reckless homicide and unlawful possession of a weapon. Dr. Justin Dudson with Youth Villages says the impact of this incident can have lifelong effects on the little girl.
They can experience negative or short-term psychological effects, including memory loss and anger and withdrawal, also known as, post-traumatic stress disorder.
Dodson also says certain noises, even smells, can bring back memories for the child. Dodson says the girl has another uphill battle ahead.
So research actually shows us that exposure to violence can cause more thoughts and memories of that event, as well as a history of violence in the future.
Police Director Mike Rawlings has been vocal in the past about children being exposed to violence. Rawlings was not able to comment, or available, better said, to comment on this incident. However, if you do need a gun lock, they are offering them for free at any Memphis police precinct. Reporting live, I'm Briseda Hogan, WMC Action.
And here's the affidavit. Personally appeared before me, G. Howard, 10595. And made oath that on or about the 14th day of October 2020 in said county and within the jurisdiction of Criminal Court of Shelby, Tennessee, 1. Alante Jones did unlawfully commit the offense reckless homicide 39-13-215 and unlawful possession of a weapon 13-17-1307. Further affiant makes oath that the essential facts constituting said offense of the source of affiance information. And the reason why the affiance information is believable concerning said facts are as follows. Now I didn't have to read all that. I just felt like reading it because, well, I just want people to understand that these words mean something. You know, in law, you have these words constituting affiance. Anyway, let's continue. On October 14th, 2020 at 2040, all right, for those who don't know military time, it's 8:40 p.m., okay? Officers responded to a shooting call at 4305 Harvest Hill Road, where a male was lying in a car suffering from a gunshot wound to his head. Jerome Smith, who was later identified, was pronounced deceased on the scene. Inside the vehicle during the shooting were Adrian Thompson, passenger seat, Alante Jones, driver's side rear seat, and 3-year-old A. Smith, who was sitting in the rear middle. Jerome Smith was the driver's seat. What? Did I read that right? Driver's side rear. Okay, I misunderstood. That's why I did catch the parentheses there. Okay, driver's side rear. So Jerome was the driver. Alante was behind him. Oops, that shit don't seem too right. Ooh, so the kid was in the middle in the back seat. Adrian was in the front passenger seat. That shit kind of fishy. But I digress. During the investigation, Alante Jones was developed as a suspect. On October 14, 2020, Alante Jones was brought to the homicide office as part of the ongoing investigation. Jones read and waived his Miranda rights. Why did you do that? Jones told investigators that he was picked up by the victim. I was going to say vehicle. Picked up by the victim, Jerome Smith, who was going to take him home. Jones got into the victim's car with a handgun and sat in the back seat with the victim's 3-year-old daughter. A. Smith. Fuck. That's horrible. Because I was under the impression that they tried to make it out to be where, you know, the gun belonged to. Anyway, the weapon was exposed and accessible to the child. Jones stated that he laid the handgun down. The child picked up the gun and began playing with it. While the child was playing with the handgun at discharge. Wow. Striking the victim, Jerome Smith, in the head, causing his death. Jones heard and seen on the surveillance footage, apologizing for his role in the victim's death. Jones was not the owner of the vehicle and did not have a handgun permit. Didn't have a handgun permit. That's so fucking horrible. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're gonna carry illegally, you're gonna have an illegal firearm, at least have some type of discipline to make sure that nobody puts their hands on that gun but you. What type of this is 2020. Who doesn't practice gun safety these days? You felt comfortable with a 3-year-old next to you knowing you got a gun? Let me tell you something. I've been carrying for a very long time. I've been around children. I've been around women and their children. I don't lay my gun down if it's not in my eyesight. I don't leave that room with that gun laying in any place in the home or any place. If it's not in my eyesight, if it's not in me, if it's not on me, I don't do that. So the man was so reckless that he got in the car, he just sat the gun like what if the gun was like this? This shit is terrible, man. You shouldn't even get reckless homicide. You should get first-degree murder. That's my personal opinion. I'm just being straight up with you. That's just my personal opinion. It's crazy, man. This is why, because I trust me, I deal with certain people, family members, whatever. Hey, man, what you got on you? Okay, woo. You good? You got this, you got that, all right, straight. You know what I'm saying? I don't let nobody, because listen, man, he's just an innocent dude that's just picking up somebody. And goodness, man, just imagine being Jerome. You're minding your business, you're picking up somebody, and you have no idea. He probably had no idea a man had a gun in the back seat. Probably had no idea he had a gun on him. Or if he did know he had a gun on him, he probably didn't think that he was going to get shot accidentally. But who's to say that this was an accident, you know? What if you just blame it on the 33-year-old girl? But that's just my assumption. That's just my safe assumption. I might be wrong for saying that, but that's just my personal assumption. I'm just going to leave that to myself. Blame me for it. Goodness, just... Anyway, let's go back to the article. Let's read it. Now, before we end this, I want to read this article, but I want to also throw out there, man, it's very important that y'all understand that locks are not the problem. Locks can prevent things, but you want to make sure that you have the right type of handgun, because Glocks don't have safeties, for one. That's another problem. A lot of people love Glocks. They're easy to hold, and I know they're very easy to deal with, but they don't come with safeties. Never have a handgun without a safety. You just never know what could go wrong. You can have the gun on your person. You can have the gun in your pocket. Things happen. You could drop it. You know, anything could go wrong. So I just want to put that out there. But anyway, I'll read this article, and pretty much it just goes over the same thing that we just watched. So Memphis, Tennessee, a tragic accident took place Wednesday night, showcasing just how dangerous it is to have weapons near children. Wednesday night, just before 9 p.m., Memphis police were called to a shooting in the 4000 block of Harvest Hill Road. When officers arrived, 31-year-old Jerome Smith was found lying in his car with a fatal gunshot wound to the head. An affidavit revealed there were 4 people in the car, including the 3-year-old girl. 26-year-old Alante Jones, who was also in the car, told investigators he was carrying a gun when Smith picked him up to take him home. According to the affidavit, Jones sat next to Smith's 3-year-old daughter, put the gun down, and that's when he says the child started playing with the weapon, fired it, shot her father in the head, causing him to die. Jones is now charged with reckless homicide and unlawful possession of a weapon. And Dr. Justin Dachshund with Youth Village says the impact of this incident can have lifelong effects on a little girl. I want to also put this out there that there's people that think that it's okay for children. And I understand it's a big difference between a 3-year-old and let's just say a 10-year-old. But we are saying that it's okay for a child to accept themselves being a male when they're born a female and a female when they're born a male. That's another video. But I just want to point out that they said that this will have lifelong effects based on what happened, at 3 years old, which I don't deny that. But if we're gonna accept this information, then why not the other situation being put out there as well? That what about the effects of that particular, especially when you're talking about sex changing young girls or young boys rather, things of that nature. As Justin Dachshund said, they can experience negative or short-term psychological effects, including memory loss, anger, and withdrawal, also known as PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, Dachshund said. Dachshund also says certain noises, even smells, can bring back memories for the child. Dachshund said that the girl also has another uphill battle ahead. So research actually shows us that exposure to violence can cause more thoughts and memories of that event, as well as history of violence in the future. Police Director Mike Rawlins has been vocal in the past about children being exposed to violence. Rawlins was not available to comment on this incident, But for anyone who needs a gun lock, they are free at Memphis police precincts, at any one of them, by the way. Which that is true. I also want to say this. You have this situation where there's a rapper by the name of G Herbo who clearly has said that he was diagnosed with PTSD. He's very young. He's been involved with, gangs in Chicago. I won't say which gang, I won't get into all of that. But he's been shot before, and he's probably been around violence, gun violence his whole life, even as a teen. And I'm talking about not a late teen, I'm talking about an early teen, as young as 10, 11, 12, into 13 in its very early stages. Can you imagine if a person like him who has been diagnosed with PTSD, a lot of those people who grew up in the hood, like myself, who's very, I don't jump when I hear gunshots. And I remember I was with this girl one day, a long time ago. And one day we were just sitting outside, just in my car, just chilling. And all of a sudden, within the area, we heard pop, 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 pop. And it wasn't close, but we could hear it. And she jumped. And I looked at her like, you all right? She said, you didn't hear that? I said, yeah, I heard that. She was like, you're not scared? I'm like, nah, like, they're not shooting over here. She was like, they don't like make you jump, they don't make you scared or nothing. I'm like, nah. I said, I'm thinking about leaving this area so we can go somewhere else and just chill, because we were just looking at the stars, just chilling. Like, I had my radio in the car, we was watching a movie, and we were just chilling because she had just got out of work or whatever. And we were just killing time because she had to go to another job and I had to be at work that morning or whatever. But nonetheless, a lot of people we're so used to this where it doesn't really bother us. And then some people actually do get afraid. And I told her, how many times have you heard this? She said, well, people be shooting all the time. I said, well, some people just don't have that effect by hearing gunshots. Some people do. Some people probably never heard gunshots. It's probably, it frightens them by it being so new to them. Like, it's, oh my goodness, like, gunshots. I've never heard gunshots before, and I've never heard them that close to me. Like, I've seen people die. I've seen people get shot. I've seen, like I literally saw a man got shot within 30 feet of me. Like, I've seen him, like, literally bleed, like, when he fell to his knees, just bleeding everywhere, and his face hit the concrete. Like, these are type of things that I can say I've seen, So, yeah. Shit is very devastating. It does have lifelong, effects. So I will agree with that. But on another note, we need to look into this whole gender thing as well. I just want to put that out there. This is Huggie Pacino with the Huggie Pacino Effect. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel by hitting the red subscribe button. And make sure you hit the notification bell. If you have problems receiving notifications, make sure you unsubscribe and then resubscribe and hit the bell again. On the right hand side, all of my channels will be available. And subscribe to all of them, because with YouTube censorship, there's no telling where I might have to move around. So make sure you subscribe to all channels available. And if you have a cell phone, in the description box of each and every single upload, you can follow me on social media. You can also contact me via phone and email, and there will be a link to each channel to subscribe to. And also, don't forget to check out my playlist, my vision series, and my uploads over the past few years. You can go all the way back to the memory lane as well. If you would like to donate, Cash App and PayPal, $ Huggie Pacino, paypal.com/Huggie Pacino. Thank you for watching. I am Huggie Pacino for the Huggie Pacino Effect. Thank you.
Now that's Huggie Pacino certified.